All right, so let's talk about teams that did nothing because they couldn't, or they struck out on free agents / teams that lost. I know you got to get going soon, so I'll try and make this somewhat quick.
Yeah, I could stick it out a few more minutes.
Yeah, so let's start with teams that kind of like were in the middle. Kraken, they were able to sign Andre Burakovsky and Justin Schultz. I think that's low-key two good pickups, but then they signed Martin Jones, and I'm just like,
I don't really get it. I saw that signing and I was like, so you have Drieger, you have Grubauer, and now you have Martin Jones. All three of those goaltenders deserve to be up with the big club. Who are you going to relegate to the AHL?
Honestly, in my personal opinion, you relegate Jones out of those three.
But would Jones have signed with the Kraken to play in the AHL? He had a great year for Philly last year.
Who knows?
That's just me.
No, I see what you're saying. It's just that was a little bit of a weird signing.
It was. I was perplexed by that.
Yeah, St. Louis Blues, they signed Noel Acciari, who I think is a good depth forward, and then they signed Nick Leddy to a 4-year deal, giving him $5 million. I was just like, okay. I mean, Leddy's good, but is
what's hilarious?
Is he $5 million over 4 years good?
Nick Leddy was making $5.5 million a season when the Islanders traded him to the Detroit Red Wings. They sent a second-round pick with Nick Leddy to the Red Wings to take the contract. And now, once that term ends, the Detroit Red Wings sign him to the same deal. It's just signs all over the place as to why Lou Lamoriello has ruined this Islanders team. But again, we'll get to that. Saving the best for last, I see.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, this is kind of a win. The Sharks, because they signed Nico Sturm and Oscar Lindblom, but that team is not doing anything. So that's kind of why I didn't have them in the winners earlier. That they're kind of one of those teams. They made some good moves, but it's not really going to equate to anything.
They are the definition of meh.
Pretty much. We're getting to two teams that I really, really, really want to talk about. So the Leafs just suck. And I love it. They signed Aubé Kubel, which is a decent forward. They signed Samsonov, who time will tell. But they let Jack Campbell walk, and then they trade for Matt Murray. What is Murray's cap hit? Like 4.5 or 4.7, something like right around there?
Murray's cap hit with no salary retained is $6 million.
That's his cap with no salary retained.
With no salary retained, but
Right.
Ottawa did retain 25%. So the Maple Leafs are paying him 4.75, which is $250,000 less than Campbell got over 5 years with Edmonton. And if you combine Samsonov's cap hit with Murray's cap hit, even with salary retained, you are overpaying for what Edmonton is paying for the goaltender that led you to the playoffs last year.
Si, senor.
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Kyle Doofus. That's what I like to call him.
Well, look, they let Mikheyev walk, right? He ends up signing with the Canucks 4 years, $4.5 million per season for a guy who has not put up more than 40 points in a season. That was shocking. So I credit Dubas there for not matching anywhere close to what the Canucks ended up giving Mikheyev. Aubé Kubel can provide a lot of what Ilya did, right? But Matt Murray, he had a very good year last year. I'm just putting it out there. Was he injured? Yes. But he did have a bounce back season. And we got to remember, Matt Murray won 2 Stanley Cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins.
He has
He has an invisible glove hand, as we all know. But you know what? His dad recently, I believe, passed away, and he was a huge fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was a fan of the Leafs growing up. And I think Kyle Dubas is just banking on Matt Murray coming in motivated as hell, coming from a bad situation in Ottawa to a situation where winning a Stanley Cup is the expectation. I know winning a first round should be the expectation, but again, high aspirations for the Maple Leafs who have done nothing. So I guess they're just banking on a little bit of a rebound. And Samsonov, the same thing. But man, the goaltending for the Maple Leafs has the potential to lose them 10 to 15 games this season. And in the Atlantic Division, that newsflash, we just spoke about 2 teams in the Senators and the Red Wings who just got a lot better. Also, the Boston Bruins brought back David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron. it might be a little bit difficult for the Maple Leafs, to make the playoffs as easily as they did last year. Couple that with the Florida Panthers, who just won the President's Trophy. The Atlantic's going to be a fucking war zone. It is.
Oh, yeah.
And Austin, I texted you this, a couple of days ago. Austin Matthews is 2 years away from being an unrestricted free agent.
I hope he
And
leaves.
you have two chances, if you're Kyle Dubas, to show Austin Matthews why he should stay. And you're banking on Ilya Samsonov and Matt Murray to backstop you to playoff success. Kyle Dubas, you have some balls for making those moves. You really do.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it.
Yeah,
Because
Leafs
if Austin Matthews leaves for Arizona, that would be the pinnacle of Toronto Maple Leafs news.
Leafs are taking a major L here. Just my opinion. So you want to know who also took an L? Tampa Bay Lightning.
Really?
Yes, they did.
Why
They
do you say
signed
that?
because first off, they traded McDonough away for rest in peace future considerations for nothing.
His
They
contributions
literally
will be forgotten.
lost a top 4 defenseman because they ran into a Vegas situation. Then they signed Ian Cole and Vladislav Nemesnikov. I don't know how. Like, they were already over the cap, and then they signed those two.
Well, what got me is two moves that predicated the two free agent signings of Cole and Nemestikov were two players that Julian Brisebois re-signed to kind of ridiculous deals. You know who got an 8x8
Hold on.
contract?
Wait, 2 or 3?
Yeah, 3. Eric Chernak got 8x8. 8x8 for Eric Chernak.
That's an
Sergachev got 8x8.5, which I actually kind of like. I think Sergachev
that was more deserving.
that was more deserving. Don't get me wrong. And the third contract, they might be slipping my mind.
Cirelli
Yeah,
for 6.1, was it?
yeah, I don't hate the cap hit. Look, 8x8
I'm
for
actually
Chernak is
no, that's terrible.
dude.
Don't get me.
dude.
I actually kind of like the Cirelli extension, but
So do
holy
I.
shit, dude, they are setting themselves up for a Vegas situation.
Like, really, would you rather have Chernak at 8x8 than the rest of McDonough for his deal? I just don't get it. I
Nope.
just don't understand. It's peeking too much into analytics because, of course, you follow Jay Fresh on Twitter. He puts up his player cards from time to time. After Chernak signs, like, look at Chernak. He's one of the best depth defensemen in the league. $8 million. $8
Nope.
million before the 2 Stanley Cups. He was playing in the bottom 6
That's an L.
in that defense core. What's going on? Yeah, I don't like the contracts either. I still think the Lightning will compete, but again, it goes back to that same conversation about the Atlantic Division. It's going to be tougher than last year. The Red Wings and the Senators and the Bruins are going to give you a hard time. They're all marginally better than they were just a few months ago. So the Atlantic Division is one of a lot of question marks. It really is.
And the East is going to be fascinating next season.
I can't wait to make some predictions for the East. It's gonna be.
And let's talk about the Flyers real quick.
Yeah.
They just don't have a good fucking team. And then they brought in Tortorella, and we're just like, we're turning this around. And I just go, not with that team that you got on paper. That's an automatic. That's an automatic L just for that way of thinking.
And you know what? It's a shame because they do have some solid young players. We spoke about it before the podcast started. Morgan Frost is, still really good. I think Ivan Provorov, you could say what you will about him having a down season. I still think he's a top 4 defenseman in this league and they power play quarterbacks someday. We talked about Ristolainen and D'Angelo, how much of a clusterfuck that's going to be, pardon my French.
Ristolainen just flat out stinks. D'Angelo will provide you some offense though, which is kind of something that they needed.
Yeah, Ryan Ellis, his career is kind of in jeopardy. You don't really know.
Yeah, he's a shadow of himself.
Yep, Carter Hart had a really good year last year, but you never know what you're going to get out of him. He's like a Jekyll and Hyde type of goaltender.
Yeah, I kind of thought Hart underachieved last year. I thought he could have put up better numbers. This is coming strictly from a fantasy perspective because he was disappointing.
Well, I'm just talking about it from the defense core that was playing in front of him. I mean, Ryan Ellis was injured the entire season, pretty much. He played 4 games, and every single defenseman underachieved vastly. So and Hart had such a horrible year the year before. So, anything above, a 905 save percentage was something good for him. So again, and they signed Nick Delorier to a 1-year deal worth $3.5 million. Like, what's going on? If you're going to sign Gaudreau. Don't allocate your finances in such a weird way.
Yeah, seriously.
And Carter Hart, by the way, 13, 24, and 7 last year, 3.16 goals against, 905 save percentage. And that's coming off a year before that, where he had a 3.67 goals against and an 877 save percentage. So not good, but slight improvement.
Yeah, I guess. So let's we've all been waiting for this one. Lou Lamoriello has got to be. Look, he's not on par with Vegas's GM, but he's still pretty bad. He went all in on Gaudreau yesterday, struck out big time. They did trade for Romanov, but they did nothing yesterday. How is that team improved at all?
I don't think they've improved at all, quite frankly. I think Romanov maybe provides them a little bit extra depth on the blue line, maybe some extra offense that they desperately need. But man, when you look at some of the contracts that are on that team, Josh Bailey is getting paid $5.5 million. Kyle Palmieri is getting paid $5.5 million. Anders Lee is getting paid close to $8 million. Matt Barzal is 2 years away from unrestricted free agency. You talk about Austin Matthews being 2 years away. Matt Barzal is too. What makes Matt Barzal want to stay a New York Islander? Having Kyle Palmieri, who's a shadow of his former self, on his wing, I don't understand. John Gabriel Pagio, who I like, I think they tried to build a little bit too much down the middle, and we're really forgetting about the wings. They fire Barry Trotz, and look, I always like to say this about general managers. General managers have one bullet in their pistol before they get shot themselves. And Lou Lamoriello saw the writing on the wall and said, you know what? If Barry Trotz does not take the fall for the Islanders' issues last year, it's going to be me. So I might as well just fire him before I'm the one who has to face the music.
Yeah, and Trotz is actually looking like he's not coaching this year.
Yeah, and Trotz wanted to come back. The report came out that Trotz wanted to come back to the Islanders, fully expected to return. And I think a lot of the reports around the Islanders fan base was moving to Lane Lambert was an indication of pushing more with offense and less with defense. And I get it. Barry Trotz, he's known for his defensive systems. But if you're going to do that and then not pay up for the best goal scoring winger on the market.
Well, reports indicate that they did offer to pay up, but Gaudreau just said no.
I hope that's the case. For the sake of Islander fans, I hope that's the case. It's a tough pill to swallow that he doesn't want to come to Long Island. But if Lou Lamoriello was, collecting, trying to save money in any way, that led to the decision of Gaudreau not going to the island, that's an issue.
Yeah, and the other thing with the missing out on Gaudreau, they couldn't get anybody because they were so focused in on him.
And I don't really know if it was a family decision for Gaudreau, because Gaudreau lives in South Jersey. So if he wanted to be close to his family, playing with the Islanders or the Devils for that matter is a no-brainer. So why didn't you go to Ohio? So it's not a location issue. It's not a money issue. Then what is it?
I don't know.
Just have question marks. And I guess that's for Johnny Gaudreau and Jarmo Kekalainen to know, and for us maybe to find out one day, right?
Yeah. But
I think it's a fireable offense. I really do. I think he's one of the worst general managers in the league. I think he's way, way over the hill.
And also notice that the two Islanders teams that made the conference finals, he did not build those teams.
No, he did not. That was all Garth Snow. It was all Snow.
All the pieces were in place. He just had to supplement the roster. They did make 2 conference finals, but no cigar.
And everybody thought
and now
that
he
Garth
just
Snow was the issue.
Yeah. And now Lamoriello has just completely ruined that team moving forward.
And we love.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You and me love to see it. We're Ranger fans. We love it.
Yeah. The Islander fans, though, they're a little bit sad. Hug an Islander fan today, if you're watching this.
I mean, I'll hug my boy Charlie, but that's about the only Islander fan I'm hugging.
There you go. An Islander fan you like.
It helps that I went to school with them.
Yeah, right.